nothing to it. Go ahead and bring a lot thorn. Ain't no giant, I ain't gon' fire on. Catch a fade, you I'm warm, I'm gone. Y'all can catch the wave that I am on. I am icon, y'all are wide wrong. Think that I'm a reconcile bonds. Here ain't nothing to it though. This is on me, ain't got much to do with who you know. Keeping it true to from 10 L's into a milli though. But they already knew that those farewell to your opinions. Know that he is so. This is all me, ain't got much to do with who you know. Yeah, keeping it true to form, but they already knew that, y'all. Here we go. Now there ain't nothing to it. Go ahead and bring a lot thorn. Ain't no giant, I ain't gon' fire on. Catch a fade, you I'm warm, I'm gone. Y'all can catch the wave that I am on. I am icon, y'all are wide wrong. Think that I'm a reconcile bonds. Here ain't nothing to it though. This is on me, ain't got much to do with who you know. Keeping it true to from 10 L's into a milli though. But they already knew that those farewell to your opinions. Know that he is so. This is all me, ain't got much to do with who you know. Yeah, keeping it true to form, but they already knew that, y'all. Here we go.
Hey, what's going on out there, boys and girls, ladies and gents, and welcome to the Saturday Pigskin right here on the OH Report. My name is Brian Skowronski, and we are already halfway through a very fast-moving regular season. Week 3 in the books. A lot of storylines are starting to develop right here in North Central Ohio. So to break it all down with you, I've got the one, the only, probably more myth than man at this point. We got Erik Will in the building, per always. And, Coach, tell me 2 things that you know are true now that you've seen 3 weeks of football right here in our area.
Well, I might even give you more than 2 if that's okay.
Break it down, baby.
But number 1, Lucas is for real, and not only are they for real, and I've been as guilty as anybody. I have said in the past at times, man, Lucas is really good for a Division VII school. I mean, we've all known that they've played up. Now they're just a good school. They can play anybody, anywhere, anytime, get W's. 35-21 this week, great win. They continue to impress. The next thing is going to be Mansfield Senior. Their defense is absolutely for real. The offense is coming along. Next week, we're going to find out how good they actually are. We're going to find out if they've made the progression. Was it Lexington, or are they actually becoming a better offense? And then the last thing is going to be Worcester, Ashland. The fact that they're not playing,
what a travesty,
in their first 6 weeks,
man,
is whoever does the scheduling. I'm saying this because I understand the job's difficult, but the fact that going into this year that Ashland and Worcester were not a part of the original 6 playing each other in the OCC is criminal. It should have happened. You've got to make sure when you're doing the scheduling, there are certain teams that have to play every year. And Ashland and Worcester should be playing this year.
This is what I know, Erik. The mighty have fallen in the Northern 10. There might be a new king in town this year. And then also, how about those Lucas Cubs? Definitely proving me wrong for me picking against them this week. Let's go ahead and show you the moving pictures and take you out there to Cub Country and all of the other places that we had high school football here on Friday night right now in the run back. Let's begin with the Key Firelands Conference Showdown at Scott Bailey Memorial Field. Crestview hosting defending league champ Western Reserve. And less than a minute in, check this out, Evan Hamilton zipping down the sideline, 49 yards, and just like that, it is 7-0 in favor of the Cougars. Ensuing Rough Riders drive, though, Jude Munns. He's going to shake free, he's going to rattle, he's going to roll 67 yards all the way down the far sideline. He steps out at the 1. He would score just 1 play later. Let's fast forward you to the second quarter now, where it's Muck Grandy giving Western Reserve a 13-7 advantage. But just a few minutes later, Ross Kuhn is going to find Hamilton again. 15-yard hookup this time. Crestview led 14-13 at the break, and they would outscore the Rough Riders 21-0 over the final 2 quarters. 4 total touchdowns for Kuhn, including this 30-yard toss to Gabe Smedley. Crestview wins it 35-24. 13. Impressive win at home.
Absolutely. The Coon kid's a stud, no doubt about it. Big bounce-back game after kind of getting it handed to him last week against Norwalk St. Paul. Big win for the Cougars, man.
A little K action now at the Castle. Northmore hosting Cardington Lincoln, and Max Lower showing off the lower body, muscling his way in to make it 12-0 Golden Knights. But here come the Pirates. Opening drive of the third. Nate Hickman to Zach Lester for the 9-yard score. Later, Cardington takes the lead on this 35-yard run. Trey bringing her here. It is 14-12, and Cardington would deliver the knockout blow coming up. This is an incredible play. Marcus Cortez on the bootleg is going to get picked off by Joe Denny, who races back 33 yards to Pater. Pirates win 20-12. What a comeback.
Oh, absolutely unbelievable. That's a huge win for them. How about that last play there, man? Trying to make a play, get nipped in the heels, throw the pick six. Not a great way to end that one.
Mansfield Senior hosting Lexington, both looking for their first win, and after a scoreless first, Brock Hill and the Tigers got it rolling. You saw that Avion Gross 9-yard TD grab, then Amajian Robertson with the pick six, Hill to Avion again, and now we're going to go back in time, Tecmo Bowl style. That's what my man Andy Jardy said on the call. 17 yards, but Brock covered about 80 of them right here. Just an amazing run, Eric. You saw this in person.
And I'll tell you what, this is about the only way senior high can run the ball is Brock Hill doing that and being elusive. That dude, that's got to be a play of the week nomination.
Oh, you better believe it. Cole Pauly finally got Lex in the scoring column. It only took him 11 quarters, but just too much senior high in this game. 42-6 TY rolls.
Majian Robinson coming back. Man, that defense is legit. The offense finding itself. They're not a running team. They're a passing team, and that's okay.
Lucas at Pleasant, D7 versus D5. Cubs are always an underdog, but never count them out. People talk about the rush game, but how about the lockdown D? And how about this? Andrew Smallin went for over 215 through the sky, thanks mostly to Ethan Showtime Sauter. You saw that it is now 14-0 here as Grant Barrett takes it in 5 yards. And don't blink on this next play and watch the magician artistry by Sauter as he literally is going to disappear behind the zebra. He emerges in the end zone. Cubs would emerge victorious. They are undefeated since joining the MOAC. Eric Will, 35-21 they win.
Hey, listen, balance doesn't mean that you throw and run 50-50. You have the threat to throw the ball like the Cubs do with that running game. It makes them unbelievably difficult to defend.
The battle for the Iron Plow, possession never owned by Colonel Crawford, who hasn't beat Winford since 2013, and Royals QB Dustin Brady would make it 20-6. He doesn't want to give up the trophy. Second half, though, Eagles coming back. Here is Brock Rizkoft, ghosts him for 33, getting into the zone, and now in the final minutes, Crawford down 7, cuts it down to 1 after Cade Hamilton breaks the plane, but those gambling Eagles would hit pocket aces on the 2-point conversion, and the curse of Winford lifted from North Robinson. 37-35, Crawford stuns them.
Hey, on the road, down by 2 scores to come back. Great win for Coach Deglovic and his kids. Awesome for Colonel Crawford.
We're at WW Skiles Field now, where the Hungry Hounds would feast on Marion Harding. Marshall Shepard in for the touchdown, then Owen Fisher adding to his record-setting performance last week. He had 237, 4-touchdown encore performance. But how about the blocking, and how about the defense? Strip sack and the fumble recovery executed like they planned it. And we cap things off with Fisher back in the zone. Shelby rolls again. They're 3-0, 49-17 in this one.
I think Shelby, and I could have probably said this in the intro, I think Shelby's proving that they are the premier team in the area like we thought they were going to be to open the season.
Definitely living up to expectations. So did this game. We saved the best for last, folks. Football's always live and free on the OH Report, but fans in the Valley got 2 extra quarters of action last night. Austin Lyon had the Colts up early, but second quarter now, Wilson Frankhouse, quick hitter to Hanif Donaldson, and he gets in. They would hook up later right here, 25 yards to pull the Tigers within 3. 5 seconds remaining now, and with Kool-Aid in his veins, you're about to see Dominic Pittman drain a 28-yard field goal to force overtime. Let's take you now to double OT, where the Tigers' defense was on the prowl. Here it is. Fumble on the exchange to the QB leads to the fumble recovery for Gallion, leading to this. Pittman, who was spotted drinking Gatorade Ice, flexing the clutch jeans once again. Ball game, baby, 28 yards. Gallion wins 2017.
Hey, how about the special teams there with that kicker? Those things weren't even close. I mean, those things were like over the uprights. Huge win for Gallion, a must win for Gallion to keep pace with Shelby in the league.
So obviously a huge win there for the Galleon Tigers, and some other big wins. I got some scores outside of what we had on the run back there. Worcester, a big winner, 38-14 over West Holmes. We'll talk a bit more about that in a minute. Ashland, another winner in the OCC, 45-7 at Madison. Ontario, a surprising win to me at River Valley. They had been rolling, had the Vikings 28-24, a blocked punt and a return by Kurtz. Ended up winning them that game. And then Plymouth over Mapleton, 36-22, where sophomore Shea Sparks, 15 carries, and very Owen Fisher-like from last week, 390 yards. He had a trio of scores as well. But I want to begin with the MOAC, Eric. It seems like it's really competitive.
Right.
All the games seem to be really fun each week. But how good do you think it really is top to bottom?
You know what? And that's what we're finding out. You and I talked even before we came on the air here to discuss this. I think we're finding out that it's a solid league. I don't know how great it is as far as from top to bottom. I think there's good quarterback play. I think that there's decent defense in this league. I think we're going to find out. We may not know until tournament time when you start seeing some of these Division IV schools and maybe even some 5 schools playing some of those Northwest schools that they're going to play in their region. I do think Shelby's solid. I think that they've got a really nice team. I think Galleon has a couple of really nice athletes. The fact that Clear Fork is 0-3 just baffles me. If you'd have told me that coming into this year, I would have bet again. I'd have bet a month's mortgage on that. Coach Carroll is in every single game, but they just haven't been able to find that win just yet. I think it's coming. I think maybe they're going to surprise somebody along the way. And then I think what you said, you nailed it. Ontario getting a huge win this week. I kind of relate this to you're in the desert for 2 weeks just seeing mirages of water and you're drinking sand. That's what Ontario was. I mean, they were just so thirsty for that first win after being so competitive those first 2 weeks. And credit Coach Miller and that group going out and getting a huge hard-fought win. But the MOAC, I agree with you. I think the verdict's still out from top to bottom on how good that league actually is.
I agree. I think Shelby has kind of proven that they might be a step above the rest, but right there, underneath the Whippets, it seems like everybody's kind of all just mishmashed, intertangled together like a big old ball of rubber bands or something in the drawer where, on any given day you could pull out a winner.
I'm sorry, real quick, I apologize to interrupt. We got to throw Lucas in there now. See, I think Lucas, if you would have told me they were going to play this well, I wouldn't have been shocked, surprised, but probably not shocked. I think they're a legitimate Final Four contender again this year. I mean, they're not only playing and competing, but they're doing things exactly the way they want to do it. I think people get fooled by saying, well, they're just winning by a touchdown or two. No, that's how Lucas wants to win every single game. They want to be up or down by a score going into the key quarter, that fourth quarter, and then they just take over and win the game. And they're doing it different ways. Their defense is always solid. They just threw the ball all over the field last week. If you're playing Lucas moving forward, that scares the dickens out of you, man, because you realize not only going to hurt me on the ground, this dude can throw the football too. So I think Lucas and Shelby, like that might be the de facto league title.
Yeah, what a shame that Lucas can't actually play for an MOAC championship this year, because I think they are one of the 2 best teams.
Right.
Let's go ahead and include them in there. It's only fair if they're going to be going on the road every single week and knocking off these top contenders in the MOAC. What about the Northern 10 now? Because I've been on the Colonel Crawford's bandwagon.
Right.
I thought they were going to get that win on the road. They had to do it in dramatic fashion. Right. Now that kind of turns the tide here for the league moving forward. Just what's your thoughts on the Northern 10 race as we're looking at Seneca East? Obviously is still in it. Winford, of course, is going to be there. But now the Eagles kind of in the top spot.
No doubt. And Cary had a blowout win. I think they crushed Bucyrus pretty hard this week.
Like 63-0.
I was funny because I was going to text you because that was one of my picks last week. I picked Winford to win this game, and they were up 2 scores. I almost sent you a text, and this is why you don't, because I would have eaten that text. I thought that just seeing the clock moving down, and then how about Coach Teklovic and that group coming back on the road. And there's the mental hurdle that was just jumped there is huge as a program for them at Colonel Crawford because,
for sure.
Like you said, what was it, 2012?
7 years.
2012 or 13, the last time that Colonel Crawford had a win against Winford. So I think that mentally for that program, that cannot be overstated how huge that is for that program. So maybe they get that league title this year. So, and who knows, I don't know if they're in the same region or same division, I should say. They might see each other again. That'd be a whale of a matchup.
Yeah, I'd sign up for that in the playoff time. But I think Colonel Crawford's got a sneaky, really good roster. When you look at Chase Walker at the tight end, the quarterback's coming along, Hamilton, Cross in the backfield. They got some weapons out there. I really like the Eagles. In the OCC, kind of a two-pony race at this point. Is that what we're looking at, Worcester and Ashland?
Yeah, I think Mansfield Senior is always a scare because their athletes are incredible. Their defense is going to be good. If you're going to beat them, it's going to have to be your defense plays well against Mansfield's offense because the Tigers, their defense is solid, and you need to get up on them early. And you're not going to beat them in the special teams game. I think every week they have a block extra point or field goal. Their special teams are incredible, which is actually a big-time credit to that coaching staff because obviously they preach that hard in practice. Madison's struggling, Lexington's struggling. West Holmes, I think, is a really good team, but I think Worcester kind of showed they're not quite there yet. And then Coach Cedar has Ashland rolling right now. They kind of took a little bit of a dip last year. I think people were kind of scratching their head a little bit like, oh, what's going on in Ashland? Well, he proved this year, not much. It's coming back. It's the Ashland of old. They've already had a real big win week 1. I just can't believe we don't get to see that game. Let's hope we do.
We might.
Let's hope although those two teams, Worcester and Ashland, may not want to play it because they're hoping for deep playoff runs.
Sure, yeah, they're scheduled to play. It would be week 3 of the playoffs. So we could see Worcester and Ashland in the OCC maybe meet for a league championship if both of them are rocked out. And, of course, it's tough for Worcester playing in D2. But of all the years to make a run, it feels like they have the roster this year. And then Ashland, they're just kind of always loaded. You would never want to count them out. And they're playing Division 3 this year. Big difference.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If you look at Worcester last year, they were kind of young. People were all. I know I picked Mansfield Senior 10-0. I really didn't give anybody much of a chance last year, and we went to that game. I believe you were at that game last year. That was kind of the game of the week. That might have even been the game of the year last year.
That was fun
as far as the area goes. And Worcester getting that win. People forget Senior High went all the way to that state championship run. They didn't win a league title. Worcester's the reigning league champion there.
All right, Eric. We're going to dive into the top individual performances now of the week, but first, we totaled up all the votes from last week on the Friday Night Phenoms, and I was pretty shocked how close it was considering the performance that we got from our winner, Owen Fisher, who just by 5 votes did get it done with his 14-carry, 412-yard, 6-rush touchdown, punt return touchdown game. I mean, just lights out numbers. I've never seen a contest quite like that for any individual. That's a season for most kids that they'd be pretty proud of. Probably get like all conference honors or something for that. So Owen Fisher, congratulations. You are our Friday Night Phenom for week 2. Now, let's meet the nominees for week 3. Top 5 plays of the week instead. First play takes us to Shelby where they face the Presidents, and Andre Hill makes an incredible interception here. Check that out, skying up there, 2 hands on the ball. You gotta like him high point.
Yeah, that thing coming out looked like a duck. So he went up and got it. It was duck season at Skiles, and Andre Hill came down with it.
How about this one? In Amajian Robinson with the INT and then the easy stroll into the end zone. Watch as he reads it all the way. Pick, gone.
Yeah, and the reason that's such a cool play is because it was a trick play, and he stayed at home, did his responsibilities well. Great having that dude back for the TY Tigers.
This, to me, is just like, you got to not blink here. Look at Ethan Sauter as he breaks a couple of tackles, and then, whoop, gone. I don't know, he disappears, and then all of a sudden, magically, mysteriously in the end zone.
How cool is it for this young man to be an integral part on their state run last year, and now he's leading it this year? So, him doing his little Houdini right there and then right into the end zone. The special effects on that one, the unintended special effects make that one cool.
59-yard touchdown for Sauter. Now here's Joe Denny, interception, and he's going to carry it 33 yards back for the touchdown for Northmore. That sealed the game, too. Cardington was down early. They come back with this one.
Well, and that's what I said. This was a huge win for Cardington. That's one of those ones that I'm sure when it was coming to him, he's like, why is this ball coming to me? And obviously the good news is he knew exactly what to do when he had a huge play. Big win for Cardington.
All right, our final nominee, Evan Hamilton, making the catch, and then he just does it all on his own. 49 yards. You see him speed racer down the sideline, and no one can catch him for Western Reserve.
Yeah, and that's, like you said, this one's cool because of the speed. You can see the angles right there. 24 has the angle. You can see right here, number 2 has the angle, and the speed outruns the angles. Really big-time play there. Cardington with a huge bounce-back win.
Yeah, Crestview looking solid, and he was a big reason why. Evan Hamilton, 2 touchdowns, none prettier than that one. So I'm going to post these individually a little bit later, and then, of course, we leave it up to you, the people at home, to vote on the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, and the YouTube. We total them all up. And when we did that last week, Eric, not only did we have Owen Fisher as our phenom, he was also the top 5 play winner for week number 2. So bravo, sir. But he earned it. I mean, you don't have a week like that and not like win some free t-shirts. Come on.
Right. The fact that we're even going back to him being the player of the week, only winning by 5 votes, is crazy. Because like I said, I don't care, who your kid is or who you're supporting for your school. When you're talking about 412 yards, almost 28 yards a carry, 7 touchdowns. Like, you've almost got to say, man, tip your hat to that kid for that kind of a week.
I've never wanted to play a favorite, but I almost had to have vetoed if we had somebody else come up and win. But his punt return touchdown last week actually is what earned him the top 5 play. So now let's actually go ahead and meet our Friday night phenoms, courtesy of Spherion, Mid-Ohio. All right, let's meet our first phenom of the week. And from the Galleon Tigers, how about their quarterback, Wilson Frankhouse? Monster performance, and on the road at the Colt Corral, never an easy place to win, Eric, but he showed out a couple of touchdowns and over 100 on the ground rushing.
Yeah, I said before the season started that it's Frankhouse or it's Fisher as for player of the year because his talent's off the charts. The great thing for Galleon is this dude touches the ball every single play, and he is a stud.
Yeah, he's a pretty feisty kid. I just like his moxie, too. And you see he's got some nice touch on the ball, little rainbow pass there into the end zone. And that was clutch. They were down 10, fourth quarter on the road, and Wilson helped lead them back to the victory. So you see him rolling out here, stopping, popping on a dime. Just a special player. Our next nominee coming from the Shelby Whippets, and no surprise, Owen Fisher. I mean, pretty pedestrian compared to last week, but that's saying something when you go for 237 yards and 4 tutties.
Yeah, I mean, through 3 games, he's already pushing 700 yards.
Whew.
I mean, which is incredible. Yeah, he had another great week. Credit the offensive line for Shelby. Marshall Shepard's helping that because I know he's getting his running going as well, so they got a kind of a 2-headed running attack there, but he's elusive, he's powerful, he runs low to the ground. He's an action figure. There's no doubt about that. He's having a special year and had a special game on Friday.
And I think we all kind of could have predicted this coming. Played for you when he was a freshman.
Right.
Got the start, I believe, in week 1 and went over 150 yards in his varsity debut. And so now really filling the shoes at the varsity role. 3-year starter. This kid's unbelievable.
Yeah, he is. He's a special young man, works hard. You feel bad for a shortened season because he had goals of potentially even being the all-time leading rusher, which may still be there.
Our third nominee, I seen this kid in action live last night, and he was phenomenal. Ross Kuhn, very efficient through the air, 230-plus yards, 3 touchdowns, and then on the ground, too. So he did a little bit of everything, and I really like how he runs his option reads. He keeps it in the belly of the running back until the very last second. Really good quarterback, Eric.
Yeah, he's one of the better quarterbacks in the area, and for him to have the bounce-back game, he's being a leader of this team, and specifically the offensive side of the ball. He's on time. He's on target. His accuracy is really good. I'm sure they would all like to have that St. Paul game back, but this was huge, that mental hurdle that they were able to get back over by beating Mapleton yesterday, and him spearheading that and giving that offense the confidence that it needed. Heck of a week for that young man.
And oh, by the way, I didn't even mention he had a defensive interception in the game too. He was outstanding from the safety position as well. Nominee number 4, this is a kid that you got to watch last night perform. Brock Hill, Mansfield senior quarterback, really efficient, sharp game, and you just like what he does in every facet. He can throw it pretty good, and then he's a really dangerous runner.
Yeah, as of right now, he kind of is their run game from the quarterback position. I thought he played a clean game yesterday. I thought he was on time, on target, got the ball to Bradley, got the ball to Tyshandre Hall, got the ball to Gross. He knows who his playmakers are. And then this play right here is just stupid.
Crazy, right?
I mean, to me, that just showed his versatility as an athlete. He is the type of young man, only being a junior, that you can build your offense around moving forward, no doubt about it.
Yeah, Brock Hill leading the Tigers to their first win of the season. And leading his way to a Plymouth school record, Shea Sparks. We unfortunately do not have a video of this kid, but you can see from the numbers that he's worthy of the list, Eric. 15 carries. Again, like I mentioned, very Owen Fisher-like from week 2 and week 3. Look at what this kid did. No,
there's no doubt about it. I'm glad we added him to this because I can tell you what, he is an absolute stud. What a week. Did you say he's a sophomore? I think we said he is a sophomore. Yeah, I mean, when you put up the numbers that young man put up, has to be recognized, has to be a part of this group.
So again, this is going to be posted all on its own, the Friday Night Phenoms, and then you, the fans, get to vote, weigh in with your comments, and decide. All right, that's going to be it for Week 3, Eric. Let's go ahead and look forward to Week 4. A lot of fun, interesting matchups, I think. Let's begin with the MOAC, where, again, it's so crowded right there at that second tier. How about Clear Fork at Ontario? What's your thoughts on that one?
Man, that's going to be a great game, and it's at Ontario. There's a part of me that thinks, Clear Fork's eventually got to get that W, and it wouldn't surprise me if it was this week, but I am going to pick the Warriors right now. I think they're playing with confidence. I think that this is a great year to have an open playoff because who knows, maybe they could end up winning a game or two even in that playoff. This is a really good football team, and I think the Shelby Whippets would even tell you that, playing them after week 1. And Lucas would as well, 28-21 against Lucas. That game was a 50-50 game. Ontario is a very good football team right now.
Shelby's at Gallion this week. Last year when these two teams met, it basically decided the MOAC. Right. Kind of some hints of that again this year.
Yeah, and Gallion, if I remember correctly, they got that game last year. So Gallion's playing with momentum right now. Their quarterback is an absolute stud. Love the Donaldson kid at wide receiver as well. This is a game that if you're Shelby, you had better have a great week of practice because Gallion can beat you. You got to go to Heinze Park, man, which is never an easy place to play. They're going to be all that orange. It's going to look like Halloween out there. This could potentially be the MOAC championship. If Gallion wins this, they've got the inside track.
Lucas is out of the league this week. They're going all the way down to Dayton area, I believe, taking on Troy Christian, and I know better now. I'm not picking against the Cubs no matter who they play the rest of the way. Ethan Wallace, thanks for checking me on the Twitter and letting me know that I helped fuel your fire this past week. And I love that the Cubs use the bulletin board material. Why the heck not? Take dumb people like me and what we say and use it to fuel you to some W's.
Wait a minute. Whoa. You picked
I might have picked Pleasant.
Okay.
In all three of my pick'ems.
I'm serious, man. I'm going to go ahead and pick Lucas this week.
Yeah, I think that's a smart bet at this point. How about Mansfield at Ashland? I think this is such a fun game, and I think we're going to learn a lot. What do we really know about Ashland? What do we really know about Mansfield? Let's answer some questions Friday night. I agree 100% with what you just said. I'm picking Ashland to win the football game, but senior high scary, man. They've got 3 or 4 players that might actually be the best 3 or 4 players on the field. I don't think that's a stress to talk about Bradley, Gross, Maj Robertson's back, Brock Hill. That's a solid football team. We're going to find out if their offensive production was a result of playing a little bit of a weaker opponent this week, or if they're actually turning a corner and they're going to be that throwing team. I don't think they're going to do it on the ground. They've got to do it through the air. And then Worcester's at Mount Vernon, the other interesting game in the OCC this week. I guess we'll find out if the Generals are going to keep this thing rolling in the league, but I got to imagine they are, man.
Yeah, if you're just being honest, I think Worcester wins this one pretty easily. I'm gonna pick. This might even have running clock written on it. I really like the Generals right now. They're good. That's a good football team. Coach Haas has a heck of a team down there, or over there, I should say.
And then West Holmes at Lexington, a team that scores a whole bunch of points versus a team that's averaging 2 points per game. So just looking at it on paper, you got to imagine the Knights are going to roll.
Yeah, and not only that, but they throw the ball all over the yard. I like their quarter, and I think they're going to be really hungry coming off that loss as well to Worcester. So I would imagine that might be unpleasant for Lexington next week.
All right, and real quickly, let's jump into the Northern 10. 2 interesting games. Really interesting, I should say. Mohawk at Crawford, Winford at Seneca East. So this next week, it's kind of going to unfold how the league's going to.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, Mohawk beat Seneca East this week, didn't they? Is that correct, or am I off on that?
Mohawk is 2-1. Seneca East, I believe, is 2-1 as well.
Okay. Yeah, because Mohawk's much improved. We know, what was it, 3 years ago they were 10-0.
Undefeated, sure.
So yeah, we're going to find out a lot about that. This week, I think we'll have a declared really big time inside track. So I agree with you. I like Colonel Crawford. I'm with you. I'm picking Crawford from here on out. That comeback win on the road, I think that the mental side of that was huge. Now what you're talking about, if you're Coach Teklovic and that Colonel Crawford staff, focus on the next week. You know, we didn't just win the Super Bowl. That was a huge win, but that just allowed us to get to where we want to be, which is a league champion.
Yeah, I think I'm with the Eagles winning the Northern 10 this year. And now that they finally got that Winford monkey off their back, they can breathe a little bit moving forward, but it doesn't get much easier for them this week. At least they're at home, though, against Mohawk. Well, geez, Eric, that's going to do it for week number 3. We're already halfway through. We're just flying by.
Right. I was thinking about that driving over here. I'm like, it's weird that it's week 3. We just finished halfway through the season. Now that we're going through this thing, I'm kind of thinking like, man, why don't we have all 10? Sometimes I forget we're in a pandemic, but I'm really enjoying every one of these games. I think we feel a little off because we didn't get the scrimmages like we normally get, and we didn't get the non-conference slates to kind of see how conferences stack up. I think that's why our confusion a little bit, or our unclarity with the MOAC. I would have liked to have seen those non-conference games to see how, some of those teams would have fared against some of the other area schools. But man, we're ripping and roaring through. It's going to be interesting to see how I think we're going to have a lot of, going into week 4 here, I think we're going to have a lot of league championships potentially, not decided, but decided this week.
Well, this I can tell you is a fact, Eric. We're getting a whole bunch of teams from the area in the postseason this year, so we can't wait for that.
I agree.
All right, that's going to do it for the Saturday Pigskin Week 3 edition. Thank you, as always, to Eric Will. Just crushes it out here. So if you're looking to, get some knowledge on the football area, this is the guy.
I appreciate your kind words.
All right, for Eric, I'm Brian, our producer Adam Thompson, as well as Mason Neese in the house, helping us keep this whole thing together. Thanks for watching. See you next time.